And at the risk of, as I think he said too, just talking about yourself, but I feel particularly qualified, I guess, to stand up here and tell you what the implications would be for the Métis settlements, because I was there. I was there at the settlement level as a child. I was there as an adult working at the settlement level within the settlement organization when they were negotiating the deal. I was there at the meeting where they objected to the deal. So that's indisputable. And last week I gave several interviews to the press regarding the Benoit decision, and I found it really, really interesting that all of this is based very much on oral history and oral memory. So I think another thing that's really important that comes out of these sessions is the really importance for us to start recording in writing our memories. So I just wanted to leave that with you. I'm going to try to operate this from over here. There we go. So I'm going to start this presentation just by setting out some context and some general principles, if you will. First of all, obviously, I think obviously, Métis Aboriginal rights do exist. I don't think anybody can dispute that. The Crown will certainly do so, but they do exist. Okay? We need to start from that presumption. We've heard over the last few days even people just talking about their own experiences. Métis people, they hunted, they fished, they trapped, they had community gatherings, and I found Mr. Dumont's comments particularly interesting yesterday as he was saying that's just what we did, that's what we do, not only what we did, it's what we do. But now it has to be characterized as such if you're in the legal arena. It has to be proven. Okay? So it's the living culture. I think, therefore, it's not a matter of if they exist, it's a matter of when. When are the Métis Aboriginal rights going to be recognized? And I guess it's going to be through the courts, because the political arena is not, so far, making much headway in that area. And then most particularly, and this is again the topic of my presentation today, is that Métis land rights have not been fulfilled in Alberta, and that's why I questioned the presentation just before the break, because I thought there was a reference to, maybe he didn't refer specifically to the land rights having been fulfilled, but certainly he was making a connection, and that's my very point. He's making the connection in a cursory manner, and further to that, there's tends to be no in-depth consideration of what the effects of the settlements and the associated legislation will have on Métis Aboriginal rights. So that's what I'm trying to do. I tried to incorporate, when I was listening to the sessions this morning, just some statements to add to, I guess, in mine. So I've got added here too. I mean, it was so significant when Jean was talking about the effect or the need sometimes to litigate in order to bring parties to the table. That was Calder. Calder in 1974 said it was a case by the Niska, and it involved a claim for a declaration of unextinguished Aboriginal title. Now, they lost that claim, but they did subsequently enter negotiations, and maybe that's where we have to go with Métis rights. So why should we look more closely at Alberta, other than just giving a cursory description of Alberta has this, and that's it. Alberta has the largest self-identifying Métis population in Canada, according to the last Stats Canada census, just released last month, I believe, or 2 months ago. There's about 66,000 self-identifying Métis in the province. It has the only, quote, Métis land base, unquote, in Canada. That's referred to everywhere. Again, just cursory reference. Métis land base. What does that mean, Métis land base? It has a very particular meaning I will demonstrate. Thirdly, and in Alberta, this is particular to Alberta, I believe, is there are two very distinct Métis political organizations in Canada who have registered members. Now, this kind of is related, I suppose, somewhat to what Murray's talking about, is we really don't know. Are those members distinct members? Are they overlapping? I would suggest they are overlapping, because I'm a member of Paddle Prairie. I'm also a member of the Métis Nation. So it does happen. But the point is, we do not know. Just to give everybody a bird's eye view or a sense of who we're talking about or what areas we're talking about here, because we seem to be talking about it all in theory. This is a map of Alberta. The areas are divided there according to the political organizations. The lines represent where the Métis Nation zones are situated. There are 6 zones. Each zone has a provincial board. They make up a provincial council board of 16 members. The Métis Nation has agreements with the province, I guess, where it is recognized, or it certainly holds itself out as representing the, quote, interests of the Métis in Alberta, unquote. We also, however, in the little blocks you can see, those are the settlement areas, the settlement communities. There are 8 of them existing. There were 12 originally, but there are now 8. And Paddle Prairie is the one up north, the number 1, which is where Larry and I are members from.